Boy, oh boy, All Blacks versus France. Oof, test 2. Guys, in this video I'm going to be providing you my predicted match day 23 that I think the All Blacks will go with for test number 2. How good, guys? Can't wait. I better get into it. So, starting off the front row, I think they'll go with for test 2. I can't see too many changes with that. I think they'll go with Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and stick with Fletcher Newell. Look, Ethan de Groot, look, he had a good solid game in that first test. It was his first start for a while after he sort of got dropped a little bit by Tamaiti Williams. But look, he did the basics well. Scrummaging, set piece was solid. His ball carrying was good. And he's a well-tried and tested All Black. I can't see too many changes there. And Cody Taylor, look, again, he did the basics pretty well in the first test, didn't he? Line out throwing, set piece, work rate around the field, pretty effective. So, and then Fletcher Newell again, another one that did the basics again very well, scrummaging, line outs, etc. So no changes there. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, please support the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with mates and friends, and chuck some banter about the All Blacks versus France. Test 2. How good? Can't wait, guys. Locks, I think they'll still go with Scott Barrett and Fabian Holland. Obviously, recently there's just been that news announcement Scott Barrett may not play. He may be injured with an Achilles injury. So, yeah, time will tell. If he's out, I think they'd probably bring in Patrick Tuipulotu. I think Patrick Tuipulotu would probably start alongside Fabian Holland there. And look, Patrick Tuipulotu, he's experienced. I think they'll want the leadership with Fabian Holland. Look, and Fabian Holland, like, he's just earned that second test. Like, not particularly experienced at test level yet, with only one test under his belt, but boy, oh boy, the performance he put in that first test, the set piece, the work rate he put in, phenomenal. So I can't see him being dropped or put on the bench for this second test. I think 6, 7, 8. Yeah, look, I mean, it'll be interesting. Tupu Vai, I think they'll still put him at blindside with Christian Leo Willie at 8 and Ardie Severe at 7. Again, if Scott Barrett is injured, perhaps Tupu Vai would go on at lock alongside Fabian Holland. But again, I can't see that happening. I think they quite like that combination. It gives them an extra genuine line-out threat in the line-outs and just adds a bit of size and power from having a bigger body in Tupu Vai at blindside. So I think they'll keep with that. And look, Ardie Severe, look, he was brilliant, wasn't he, against the French? Jeez. How many tackles does he break? Like, even at international, they struggle to get him on the ground. Like, he's a world-class player, isn't he? Look, at number 8, I mean, potentially they could make some changes there. But look, again, I just think it goes back to the basics. Christian Leo Willie did the basics really well. And I just think they're going to want to keep going with him. Give him another test at international level. Keep developing him, and yeah, again, he played well in that first test, so I think they start with him at number 8. 9, 10, I can't see too much change there. Cam Roigard and Beauden Barrett from me. Look, Cam Roigard, he was particularly effective, wasn't he? And the big thing with him, I think, and let me know your thoughts on this down below, guys, I think he's the best halfback in the country around the ruck and the maul. You know, if there's messy ball or something like that, Cam Roigard picks that ball up and he's so strong and powerful, elusive around the breakdown, or, you know, he's a hard man for the big, powerful opposition forwards to put on the ground. So he's really good for if there's a messy breakdown. And look, he sniped that French breakdown. He had a good game, didn't he, Cam Roigard? Beauden Barrett, again, I think they'll stick with him. Geez, he had a good game, didn't he, against France? And I think the big thing from me there is 5 from 5 with his conversions. So that was pretty significant. Look, and a lot of those kicks were from the sideline and they were straight down the middle between the posts. You know, if Beauden only had got 2 out of 5 of them, the All Blacks lose. So his kicking was particularly effective off the tee. But not only that, like Bowden's game management, his leadership was particularly effective. So I think they'll again stick with Bowden there. 12-13. I mean, I did and whether they'd put Rieko Ioane at 13 for this test, but again, yeah, I think they'll stick with Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor again there. It seems like Geordie Barrett is head and shoulders the best number 12 in the country, doesn't he? He seems like he's a level above every other second five in New Zealand. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts on that down below, guys, anyway. And Billy Proctor, yeah, look, he did his core role pretty well. Couple of missed opportunities that he'll be disappointed with, that disallowed try, and obviously when the French winger got on the outside of him and made that break, which ultimately led to that one of the French tries. He would have been disappointed with that, getting a little bit narrow up the middle. But look, again, he did his core role well, and I can't see them changing. So I think Billy Proctor starts at centre there. Be interesting for the wings and fullback, 11, 14 and 15. I have Rieko Ioane, number 11. I think he played well. I think he brings that experience, and I think they'll need that experience and leadership, the All Blacks. 14, I think with Sevu Reece being out, I think they'll bring in Tamosi Tavanawai, if I pronounced that right. I just think this is his chance. Look, he was phenomenal for the Highlanders. Raw speed, the physicality he brings, the work around the breakdown. I just think, honestly, I think that this is the test that I think they start him. They blood him in on his debut. So it'll be interesting anyway. And then finally, Will Jordan at the back. Like, he's class, isn't he? He's in some really good form and playing well. So he goes there. To the reserves, I can't see too many changes there. Samasoni Takiaho, Ollie Norris and Pasiola Tosi. Look, Samasoni, big man. He brings that power off the bench, which is particularly useful for the All Blacks forwards. His set piece was very good as well, I thought. His line out throwing, his scrummaging, very good. So I think he'll be on the bench there. Ollie Norris and Pasiola Tosi, again, they made a good impact with their ball carries, their scrummaging, their high work rate. They were good. So I think they get the nod again on the bench. 19, 20, I think they'll go with Samapini Finau and Duplessis Karifi on the bench there. So just opportunity to make a bit of an impact. And then 21, 22, 23, I have Cortez Ratama, Quinn Tupea and Damien McKenzie. I just think Cortez Ratama, I think that they'll stick with him. I thought he had a good game, a good solid impact off the bench, good effective accurate passing, high work rate. His ball carries were good. He sniped around the breakdown well. Cortez Ratama on the bench there. Quinn Tupea, I thought he had a good game with the impact he made off the bench. And particularly Quinn Tupea made that big, I don't know if you'd say try-saving tackle, but he made that hard tackle on that French forward, which dislodged the ball and made that French forward knock the ball on at the end, which ultimately saved the All Blacks from losing the game. If the French hadn't have lost the ball then, they could have scored it and won the game. So, but I thought he carried the ball well. I thought his game management was good. His defence was solid. Yeah, he had a good game, Quinn Tupea, and he's been in some really good form for the Chiefs this year. Damien McKenzie, again, I still think they'll put him on the bench. He was pretty good in that first test, wasn't he? Particularly his ball carries in half a break and up the middle or round the side. Really slippery and really effective on attack, wasn't he, guys? So I still think that they'll put him on the bench. I did whether or not Damien McKenzie might start at fullback. Potentially they put Will Jordan on the wing, but yeah, I think they'll leave Damien on the bench just solely because he also gives that cover at first five if Beauden Barrett gets injured. So yeah, that will be interesting. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and chuck some banter down below about my predicted match day 23. Let me know your thoughts on the players I've included and what you think about this awesome second test coming up. Can't wait. Cheers.